And receiving our first place award, the amount will be $2,000. Y'all are quiet, $2,000. Receiving our first place award, Sister Tiffany Saunders, the Antioch. Each year we pose a question to the applicants because we just don't give them the money, amen?
Amen.
They have to write a winning essay.
Yeah.
This year's question states, in 1963, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was arrested and sent to jail because he and others were protesting the treatment of blacks in Birmingham, Alabama. Blacks face constant discrimination and a constant threat of violence. In his letter from a Birmingham jail, he wrote, "There are types of laws, just and unjust. One has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Given the current climate in the United States, you have been selected to deliver a speech about the plights of blacks and Hispanics to a group of parents, clergy members, educators, business people, and politicians. What solutions, proposals, or changes need to be in effect to overcome our condition? Please hear the winning essay."
No pressure. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful for the opportunity to speak on this very troubling subject that affects all of us in this room. I'm delighted that you have enlisted the services of a Spanish and sign language interpreter so that everyone can benefit from our conversation today. Over the past several months, we have watched in disbelief as the lives of Black and Hispanic citizens have been mercilessly cut down by those who have taken an oath to protect and to serve. As much as we are pained by the images of police brutality that are all over our television and computer screens, I remind you that none of this is new. In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in his attempt to seek justice against discrimination and violence, was thrown in jail, along with other protesters, in Birmingham, Alabama. Dr. King lamented that there are two types of laws, just and unjust, and that one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. Today, when we look at the criminal justice system and its response to cases of police misconduct and abuse of power, we see lack of action and miscarriage of justice when it comes to penalizing bad cops. To be fair, not all cops are racist or use excessive force or incite fear.
Amen.
Similarly, not all of our people are angels singing in a choir. Yet, time after time, despite evidence to the contrary, there is no accountability on the part of police when they perpetrate violence against us. True, We have seen local agencies rush to review policies or implement training in an attempt to close the racial divide. But I say that those actions are too little, too late. What good are body cameras on the police when justice is blind? Millions saw the Eric Garner video after it was uploaded to YouTube, yet a grand jury refused to indict the cop responsible. What good is sensitivity training when those who are being trained are deaf? Again, we heard the desperate plea of a man who was being choked. I can't breathe. So now we raise our voices in protest for a long line of victims, from Amadou Diallo in New York City, to Kenny Lazo on Long Island, to Trayvon Martin in Sanford, Florida, to Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri. Because as Dr. King told us from that jail in Birmingham, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. This fight for justice is neither a black man's fight nor a brown man's battle, but a war being waged for the right to be treated like human beings, made in the image and likeness of God. So where do we go from here? We begin with forums such as this one, where we can dialogue with a clear head and find solutions. I am pleased to see that our elected officials, clergy, business community, educators, youth, and parents are present. We must not remain silent, but we must fight. Not with guns and knives, not by looting or vandalizing, but with the power that we get from God.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to be like sleeping giants who, when annoyed, will wake up and make a lot of noise. But we'll go back to sleep when things quiet down. We cannot sleep quietly in these times. Wake up.
From the mouth of the babe.
All of us must be committed and united in our quest, not just to see justice served, but to see attitudes turned around and to bring an atmosphere of trust and respect. So this morning, we put our elected officials on notice.
Amen.
We need you to introduce bills that will clean up the law enforcement department. The selection process for police recruits needs to be strengthened. Incidents of police corruption and brutality should be used as examples of what not to do.
Amen.
While honest cops should be rewarded, not demonized or silenced. Realize that the police cannot police themselves. Their wrongdoings must be met with punishment just like any other citizen. We want you, the ones that we vote into office, to recognize these grievances and to fight for the dignity of the Black and Hispanic communities where unfair policing is most prevalent. We want you to address these issues honestly and directly, not to gain our votes, but to save our lives. I call upon the community, including the youth. Get involved. Vote. The president is not the only office with a ballot. Vote for the Assembly, for the Senate, for the House of Representatives. If the officials are not doing anything to help us, then respond by voting them out. Don't just stand there. Do something. I challenge educators to teach life skills to our youth because some will never get it anywhere else but school. Instill the love of education in them. Take them to the next level so that they will be prepared for opportunities when they arise and not feel intimidated because of their color or their background. Use special programs to educate them on drug and alcohol abuse and their consequences. Teach them how to deal with random stops by the police and the triggers that can lead to altercation. I challenge our business community to truly invest in our community, not just by selling your products and services here, but also by giving back in tangible ways. Look beyond the hoodie and hire a young person. Most of us are social media savvy. Share your wisdom and help us become business savvy. Invest in after-school programs that will give young people a safe place to learn and to grow and to play. Parents, do not abdicate your role and responsibility. Guide your children. We need you to instill values in us, to teach us to respect ourselves and others. Teach us more when it's appropriate. To teach us that we can rise above all the calamity in our communities and in our world. Don't put your money where our feet are. Put your money where our minds are, even when all you have is pocket change. Apply love liberally to your children. So we can strengthen our families. Remember that young people often imitate what they see and what they hear. Let's speak openly about race and racism with an effort to find concrete solutions. And finally, to the clergy, we know that only God holds the answers to these difficult questions. But that does not mean that we can sit idly. Encourage your congregations and the community to join you in prayer. Pray for peace in our cities. Pray for those who oppress us. Pray for us, your young people. The Bible tells us that we fight against principalities, powers, and wickedness in high places. But it also tells us that we overcome. Jesus tells us, in this world, you will have trouble. But take heart. I have overcome the world. That's good news. It tells us that in the end, we will win. Thank you.